Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I am so grateful that you are here. My name is Nikki and I channel messages from movies using tarot and oracle cards. And I'm excited and honored that you're joining me today for a reading. So this video is a pick a card reading revolving around films featuring wounded feminine energy. On the latest podcast episode of the Slumber Party Massacre, we covered films involving pranks, and all three of the films that are in this video today are talked about in depth by me and my co-stars on that episode. So be sure to check that out if you're interested. While I was watching these films, I was reminded how feminine energy has been repressed in the collective for a very long time. And this had activated within myself to start healing my own wounded feminine energy, which I have been in the process of doing. And I will say, once you start doing this, you will notice that a lot of other people are triggered by you. So as we're going through the messages in the readings today, if you find yourself triggered, I invite you to lean into that because the trigger is coming up for healing. It's an opportunity to change a pattern. It's an opportunity to heal. It's an opportunity to feel emotions that you may not have allowed yourself to feel up until now. So it is 100% okay to be triggered, but there is a program on the planet that triggers are a bad thing, and they're not. They are actually here to help us heal and to break certain patterns within ourselves so that we can move forward and let go of anything limiting or holding us back. So when you start to heal your feminine energy, because everybody has a wounded feminine energy and nobody is ever done healing, okay? I'm still healing my feminine energy right now, so it's not an energy of wanting to make anyone feel guilty or make anyone feel bad or like you should be doing this or you should be doing that. That's not what my intention is for the video. It's simply to bring awareness and to help heal together in the collective, okay? So in the next part of the video, you will see 3 different piles. Meditate on the pile that is speaking to you and go to the timestamps that I provide down below to go directly to your reading from there. Also, if any part of a message does not resonate, don't try to force something that does not fit. Only take what resonates and leave what does not. Let's jump into some readings about wounded feminine energy. Hello to everyone who chose pile number 1. The heart crystal sitting on top of your pile was the green heart crystal. So what I am channeling to begin with for your reading here is Spirit is asking you to really follow your heart, to listen to your heart. I'm feeling a decision of some sort, and it feels like you don't know which way to go in terms of what would be best for you. Spirit is saying to meditate and really listen to what your heart is telling you, because your heart is what holds the answer to this very tough decision at this time. All right. So this pairs very nicely with your film for the reading, which is the 1976 film Carrie, directed by Brian De Palma, starring Sissy Spacek and Piper Laurie. The film follows young Carrie White, who is in high school, and she is severely bullied by the girls that she goes to school with, and also by her own mother. And during this trauma that she is experiencing, her psychic abilities of telekinesis actually get activated. And the rest of the story follows how she gets invited to the prom and what happens from there. This was actually Stephen King's very first novel that he published. So let's see what your cards have to say in terms of wounded feminine energy that may be coming up right now. We have the Chariot in reverse, Death, the Tower, Queen of Cups in reverse, Five of Pentacles in reverse, Three of Swords, Four of Pentacles, and Two of Swords. Okay, pile number one, before we begin your reading, as a disclaimer, just know that if you have not seen the film, there may be spoilers that come through the reading, so just be mindful of that as we are moving forward here, all right? So, beginning with the Chariot in reverse, Spirit is showing me that there is a difficulty letting go of control with something. And when we are wanting to activate our divine feminine energy within us, letting go of control is the biggest way to do that, because that is what feminine energy is all about. Releasing control, being willing to adapt, being willing to be flexible, accepting people and things as they are, not trying to change or trying to force things, because when we do that, we create resistance. Feminine energy is all about flow and ease. So being willing to let go of control will help feminine energy course through you with ease, being adaptable, being flexible, okay? So what I'm being shown from the movie Carrie is actually Carrie's mother, Margaret White, played by Piper Laurie. There is a scene early on in the film where she is going around selling Bibles, and she comes to this woman's house who is played by Priscilla Pointer. She's Mrs. Snell, who is the daughter of one of the girls that Carrie goes to school with. Anyhow, Margaret attempts to sell a Bible to Mrs. Snell, and Mrs. Snell is not interested in buying a Bible. And she says to her, "I'm not interested in buying a Bible, but I will give you a donation." And Margaret does not like that answer. So she grabs her Bibles and she huffily and puffily walks out the door. But she turns around and she says to Mrs. Snell, she goes, "I'll pray for you." So what Margaret White was doing here, she was trying to control what Mrs. Snell believed in religiously. She was forcing her religious beliefs on Mrs. Snell. And she wasn't allowing the situation to be as it was. She wasn't accepting Mrs. Snell for who she was and what she believed. She was trying to force her religious beliefs on this woman. So this is all about, you know, the meaning of letting go of control with feminine energy. So wounded feminine energy will be controlling. It won't accept other people's beliefs. And that's what Margaret White was epitomizing in this film. She also controls every aspect of her daughter Carrie's life. She forces religion on her. She forces her to stay home. She doesn't let her go out and do anything. She doesn't let her socialize with people. Very controlling. That is wounded feminine energy. All right? So that might be something a little more extreme than what you're experiencing right now, but the message is, in order to activate healthy feminine energy, is to be willing to release control. All right? The next card in your reading is the Death card. And I'm feeling a transition, a change wanting to take place in your life right now. In the film, Carrie, at the very beginning, she gets her period. And this was when her feminine energy started to rise. She was transitioning from a child into a woman. So the death of the old version of her, the younger version of her, was wanting to transition into a more mature version of her as she was, growing into a woman. And you can see in the film how women around her are not loving and nurturing to her as she starts to experience this powerful transition in her life. In the very beginning of the film, it's very hard to watch, but she gets her period while she's taking a shower, and she's freaking out because she doesn't know what's happening to her. Her own mother did not communicate to her what a menstrual cycle was. So when she's bleeding, she thinks there's something seriously wrong with her. And instead of helping her, all of the girls start yelling at her and throwing pads and tampons at her. And the gym teacher, Mrs. Collins, comes in and has to break it up because they just created this horrible bullying situation when they could have taken the opportunity to help her because she was not aware of what was going on. So with the Death card, there may be a situation in your life right now where you're letting go of people in your life who exude that type of energy. You may be in the process of letting go of energy like this right now. There may be people who you're realizing have bullied you and you're no longer wanting to put up with that. Your feminine energy may be rising to a certain degree, and you may be triggering women in your life right now with that energy. And it's like this energy of having an awareness and wanting to move away, wanting to not resort to those types of dynamics anymore, or seeing people for who they really are and understanding that you can't change or control them, but you can control who you hang out with, who you spend your time with. So this could be the death of certain relationships in your life. This could be because of a soulmate who came in, like Miss Collins does for Carrie in this film, that shined a light on certain people. So Spirit is saying to not resist the transition that is wanting to take place in your life right now. Letting go of certain relationships, letting go of a certain way of being, letting go of limiting beliefs as your feminine energy is in the process of healing, pile number 1. All right. The next card is the Tower. So some of you have just experienced a shakeup in your life right now, and this is happening to get you out of your comfort zone. It's happening to get you out of that tower, okay? It's happening to help move you in the direction that you're meant to go in, okay? So if you look very closely on the card here, there's like blonde hair coming out of the tower. So this is the Disney villain tarot deck, and this was Rapunzel trapped in that tower until she experiences a tower moment and is released from the tower. Well, this is what happens with Carrie in the movie Carrie. So the tower for Carrie was her home with her mother, Margaret White. Her mother kept her trapped in the house, which is a metaphor for the tower here, right? And Carrie also has blonde hair, so that's a cool little synchronicity there. But her mother keeps her trapped in the house. She doesn't let her go out, hang out with people. Carrie's tower moment is when she is asked to go to the prom by Tommy Ross, played by William Catt. So he asks her to go to the prom at school, but she tells him no, she can't do it, and she ignores him. So he actually physically goes to her house to ask her. And she's like, you gotta go, you can't be here. And he goes, I'm not leaving until you tell me yes. So she goes, okay, yes. And then she hurries up and shuts the door. So this was Carrie's tower moment, to get her to go out and have fun, to go out and do something. So for some of you, your tower moment could be an invitation from someone. So if you get an invitation, Spirit is saying to remain open to it. So if you have felt like you've been in this period of isolation or a period of healing social anxiety or scared to put yourself out there in some way, for some of you, there's a soulmate coming in to ask you for an invitation to go do something. So be open to that, because it's leading you to your correct destination, all right? It's leading you to where you are meant to go next on your journey. And there are no wrong routes per se, but sometimes we can get knocked off of our course as to what our divine path is. But all roads eventually lead you to where you need to be. So you don't have to worry about taking a wrong road, all right? But there is someone coming in to invite you to do something, if they haven't already, to help get you out of that tower, or to help create a tower moment to propel you to the next place on your journey. The Queen of Cups in reverse, this is wounded feminine energy in the sense of being emotionally manipulative. Okay, so I'm feeling an energy around you from someone who likes to manipulate emotions, who likes to guilt trip, who is two-faced in a sense, will show one side of themselves all loving, and then the next it's like very harsh and mean. It's like an extreme from one to the other in 2 seconds flat. And I feel this energy around you very strongly for some of you. So what I'm being shown from the movie Carrie is Christine Hargenson's character, played by Nancy Allen. She is one of the high school girls that seems to be the ringleader of this group of women in this high school. And she's one of the popular girls, and she is dating this guy named Billy Nolan, who's played by John Travolta. Well, anyway, he and her, they are on a date, and they're driving in a car, and she's like putting on some lipstick, and they're dancing. She's like kind of dancing to the music that's playing on the radio. And Billy will keep looking over at her and smiling because he's very attracted to her. And what seems to be a very loving relationship, you quickly see that it's actually not, that it's very emotionally manipulative, like this Queen of Cups in reverse energy is portraying. So what happens is he pulls the car over to park, and she looks over at him and kind of starts an argument with him. But then she will be like, come here, come here. And then he will come back over to her and kiss her, and then she'll smack him again, like out of nowhere, when he didn't deserve it. So it was like one extreme to a next in 2 seconds flat. That's emotional manipulation. When someone is like, I love you, and then kisses you, and then like shoves you away and then like smacks you, that is emotional manipulation. Or anyone that says things like, I guess I'll have to do this on my own, like to try to guilt trip people into doing what they want. That is a narcissistic behavior. All right. So Chris Hargensen was exhibiting wounded feminine energy in that way. And that's what it looks like, that dynamic that she has in the car with her boyfriend when they're parking. Being very loving at first, but then resorting to smacking him. Now, he actually smacks her back. So their relationship is very, very toxic. So it was on both sides. So if there is somebody emotionally manipulative around you, be mindful of that and do not give your attention to that. All right? Pull your energy back. Now, this is also a wounded feminine energy trait of mine. I did not realize that I had that pattern, that shadow aspect within me, where I would resort to being emotionally manipulative. And I didn't see this until I noticed the pattern within my own family once I started doing the ancestral healing. So if you are recognizing this within yourself, I am right there with you. I feel you. But once you have the awareness about it, that is the step to healing it, okay? Next card we have is the Five of Pentacles in reverse. So this is an energy of having financial instability or having instability within your home. But because it's in reverse means that things are looking up, that things are going to get better. So the scene that I'm seeing from Carrie here is actually Miss Collins, played by Betty Buckley. She is the gym teacher who comes in to save Carrie when she is being viciously bullied by these girls in this high school. And what she does is she tells this group of girls that they will be spending 50 minutes with her every day after school, or they cannot go to the prom. And she forces them to do all these various exercises. And Chris Hargensen, played by Nancy Allen, she gets sick of this. She is absolutely not wanting any part of this. She goes, I'm done. And she goes, okay, then you are out of the prom, Hargensen. And she like stands there and starts screaming at the gym teacher. And the gym teacher actually slaps her in the face. And this just goes to show you that even though Miss Collins was epitomizing this nurturing energy to Carrie, she too had wounded energy. Because I'm pretty sure smacking high school girls as a teacher would not fly today, right? So she smacks these girls, and that was her own wounded feminine energy coming to the surface. So I'm feeling an energy with the Five of Pentacles of very nurturing energy, but sometimes resorting to, like what Miss Collins does, getting angry, reacting, lashing out. And this is all part of the process, okay? I even had a moment like this a few days ago where I got very angry at someone that I was talking to on the phone, and I lashed out at them because I was very triggered. I was very ungrounded in that moment, But my spirit guides were saying when we have these moments to give ourselves grace as we are working through healing this energy, because we've been in our masculine energy for so long, it can be challenging as we're navigating through the wounded energy, okay? So give yourself grace if you resort to something like what Miss Collins did in the film, or like what I did on the phone when I reacted and screamed at someone on the phone, right? Those were my emotions coming out. And with wounded feminine energy, there's a lot of anger. So processing anger in a healthy way is very beneficial, whether that would be journaling, going on a walk, doing somatic breath work to get that energy out. Because if we keep it in there, those moments where we react is what will keep happening. But when we find out, oh, I don't want to react, and you pull your energy back, that's when you take your power back, okay? So don't be hard on yourself for any instability that may have happened in your home due to being angered, or, in regards to thinking that it has to be perfect. No, this journey is not perfect, okay? This healing is challenging because it has remained dormant for so long, the feminine energy that wants to rise. But as you keep becoming aware of it, you become, and the more you ground your energy, the less reactive you become. And that's why we have the Five of Pentacles in reverse here, because as we become aware of these things, we're becoming less reactive. And that is what is creating new opportunities. That is what is moving healthy energy in the place of this wounded feminine energy. All right. With the Three of Swords, this is all about heartbreak. So for a lot of you, I see there have been women in your life or someone with feminine energy, because either gender can have the wounded feminine energy. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us. All human beings do. So I'm seeing someone with feminine energy, whether that's a woman or a man with feminine energy, has led to heartbreak here. All right. With the Three of Swords, I'm also seeing dynamics of like best friends betraying each other in terms of cheating is what I'm seeing, like third party transactions here. For some of you, I also see this took place with people within your family, like a sister even, or also even going as far as a mother figure here. And yeah, those are very painful. That definitely would create a lot of wounded feminine energy, especially from the person who was already exhibiting the wounded feminine energy, then resorted to doing something like that. So with this heartbreak here, because of the painful experience that I'm seeing that you had, there's an energy of wanting to take revenge. And that is what the film Carrie is all about, right? Carrie gets asked to go to the prom, and her bully, Christine Hargensen, and her boyfriend, they have this plan to humiliate Carrie at the prom. Carrie and her date, Tommy Ross, are actually named king and queen of the prom. And when Carrie gets up on the stage, she's wearing this beautiful white dress. Her hair is all done beautiful. She's just glowing and she's so happy. It's like the one moment of the film where you see that she's truly happy. And then this bucket of pig's blood just is spilled all over her. And in the beginning of the film, you learn that she has telekinesis. And because she had experienced so much trauma from her experiences with her mom and then these bullies at school, all she sees is the pain and the trauma. She actually perceives the whole room to be laughing at her when it's actually only a select few that are laughing at her. So her pain and trauma caused her to see something that wasn't actually true. Then her psychic abilities are activated even stronger, and she resorts to killing everyone in the gymnasium with her psychic abilities, which meant that she was killing innocent people, people who did not want that for her, did not want to see a bucket of pig's blood dropped over the top of her. So I'm seeing an energy of thinking about revenge or having thought about revenge. And Spirit wants to remind you of the consequences of that, that sometimes revenge can lead to innocent people getting hurt, people who don't deserve it. But also what it does is it's not a healthy way of healing heartbreak, okay? Because taking revenge is not going to remove the pain. What it's going to do is going to create even more pain, even more karma, and the pain is going to continue to fester. So, like, after having taken revenge, one would find, well, why am I still feeling this pain? It's because the emotions haven't been processed. And emotions have to be processed in order for a broken heart to heal. And I have had many women in my lifetime break my heart over and over again. And I know what that feels like. And taking revenge is not the way. So, Spirit is saying to find a healthy way to heal your heart, to do a heart chakra activation, to do a mindful meditation. But also, if you're feeling this anger, to process your anger in a healthy way, whether that is to do an anger meditation to get it out, the breath work, the journaling, whatever would work for you. All right. Next, we have the Four of Pentacles. And this is all about building a solid foundation. So, healing wounded feminine energy definitely leads us to our dream life because it's removing all of those blocks. It's removing all the toxic energy. I'm also seeing some of you may have resorted to having upset stomach, and that's because feminine energy likes to flow through our gut. So, nourishing yourself with healthy food, nourishing yourself with a healthy mindset, with gratitude, these are all things that will help with your feminine energy healing, all right? Because the Four of Coins, the Four of Pentacles, is all about building a sturdy foundation for yourself. So the more that you heal your feminine energy, the more you're removing the blocks, all right? And at the very end of the film, like this is kind of like a reverse message of this, but at the end of the film, Carrie actually uses her abilities to have her house collapse in on her and her mom, because after the prom she goes back home and her mom has completely gone crazy. And what happened is that once Carrie's menstrual cycle started, once Carrie decided to go to the prom with a boy, what it did was it triggered her mother's wounded feminine energy. And she actually resorts to trying to kill Carrie at the end of the film. And Carrie uses her abilities to help save herself, but at the same time, she ends up killing her mother at the end of the film and then has the whole house collapse in on them. So this is what wounded feminine energy leads to. It does not lead to the building of a strong foundation that the Four of Pentacles is perpetuating, okay? So healing our feminine energy will help build strong foundations. Whereas at the end of the film, because everything was perpetuated in wounded feminine energy, it led to that collapse of her house. It led to that house not being on a sturdy foundation because of all of the wounded feminine energy that was being perpetuated. all right? So you were on the right path with creating that strong foundation for yourself, all right? The last card is the Two of Swords. So at the beginning of the reading, I was picking up on an energy of needing to make a difficult decision with something, okay? So in the film, what happens with Tommy Ross, played by William Catt, he is asked by his girlfriend, Sue Snell, played by Amy Irving, to take Carrie to the prom. She was actually one of the girls that resorted in the bullying of Carrie in the beginning. And she does a 180. She feels bad. She wants to do something nice for Carrie. So she asks her boyfriend to take Carrie to the prom. Except when she first asks him, he kind of gives off an energy of, I don't know, like, why would you want me to do this? And he makes this decision based off of what his girlfriend Sue wants. It wasn't something he genuinely wanted to do. So, whatever this decision is, make sure that it is something that is something that you genuinely want to do, not something that someone else wants you to do. Spirit is saying this is a great way of figuring out what the best decision is for yourself, to look at both options. Is one option dictated from someone else in terms of what they are wanting you to do, or is the other decision the one that will make you the most happy, that will perpetuate the most joy for you? The answer is what will be most fruitful for you, what will make you the most happy, all right? Not something that someone else wants you to do. Setting a boundary with someone, saying no to someone, and not being afraid of the conflict that that may cause, because choosing yourself in terms of this decision is always the best answer, depending on what the two options are, okay? But Spirit is saying don't do something because someone else is trying to force you to do it, or would lead to you feeling guilty if you didn't do it, because that's not unconditional love. Someone who would make you feel guilty for not doing something that you don't want to do, that is not unconditional love. And that's also an aspect of wounded feminine energy, someone trying to control a decision that you would want to make based off of it bringing them happiness. So do something because you genuinely want to do it, not because somebody is guilt tripping you or because somebody wants you to do it. Because in the film, Tommy ends up taking Carrie to the prom. They do have a great time, but he genuinely did not want to do it. All right, so things to be mindful of. That is all that I am seeing, pile number one. Those are your messages from the 1976 film Carrie. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If you did, drop a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear them, and I will see you on the next video. Bye. Hello to everyone who chose pile number two. So on top of your pile was the heart crystal that is half green and half purple. So what Spirit is showing me is that there's a situation in your life right now where you feel torn between what your heart wants and what your head wants. Because heart is green, crown chakra is purple. So there's a situation here of feeling torn between your heart and your mind. So let's see what your cards have to say to help heal that energy, to bring some clarity in that area. Your film is the 1988 film Heathers, directed by Michael Lehman, starring Winona Ryder and Christian Slater. This film follows Veronica Sawyer, who is in the most popular clique at school with three other women named Heather. They all have the same name, Heather, hence the name of the film, Heathers. And they're a very toxic group of girls, mostly because of the ringleader, Heather Chandler, who dictates everything that they do. And this film shines a light on what toxic friendship looks like. It reveals a light on what a toxic relationship looks like. And also that dynamic from the heart crystal that we talked about just a little bit ago, about what you know is right in your heart and what you know is right in your mind, and the pull between the two. So let's see what your cards have to say, pile number 2. We have the Empress, True Love, Two of Wands, the Hanged Man, Justice, the Wheel of Fortune, Nine of Pentacles, and the Sun. Okay, pile number 2. Before we begin your reading, just know as a disclaimer that sometimes spoilers come through the reading. So if you have not seen the film, just be mindful of that as we're going through the reading here, all right? So beginning with the Empress. This card is all about nurturing, mothering energy. It's also an energy of recognizing that beauty is not only skin deep, all right? So what I'm seeing with this is that you have a lot of nurturing energy around you, or even within you, that you radiate out to the relationships that you have and the people that you're interacting with. I'm actually seeing the scene in Heather's where Veronica and the 3 other Heathers, they decide to pull a prank on this other high schooler named Martha. She is heavier in nature, and they decide to write a note making her think that it's from one of the head football guys in the school. And she approaches him and asks him if it was true, because it's like, I want to go on a date with you or something like that. And he just reads it and he starts laughing, and she's humiliated and she runs out of the cafeteria. So I'm actually picking up on having been bullied in school. Something similar happening where there was a prank played, and thinking that a guy or someone liked you, and then having the facade come down only to realize that you were lied to about it. And I'm very sorry to those of you where that happened. The gal in this film, she is bullied by these girls in this school, and they actually call her Martha Dump Truck. And Martha's energy is, she has the Empress energy. She has a nurturing energy, very loving, very gentle, very soft. Like when you're witnessing her in the film, it's almost like, why would anyone want to bully her with how sweet she is? So I'm feeling like a lot of you had that happen where you are like the sweetest thing ever, and then having these hateful people project that on you. And to those of you that happened, why that happened was because of your light, because you were exuding that loving energy, and their energy wasn't vibrating where yours was, okay? So that is why these people treated you the way that they did. Does not make it okay, does not make it right, but your loving energy is what triggered that hateful energy in them, because they themselves weren't seeing that loving energy within themselves, which is within them too. They just chose to, nope, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel loving energy. I just want to be my hateful self. And that's what they did. So for those of you that experienced that, I'm very sorry. But this card also epitomizes that beauty is not only skin deep. Beauty is what radiates from within. And it's energy that actually matters the most. And I've been rewatching Sex and the City recently, and there's this episode where they're all talking about how they dated these men that they weren't attracted to, but how they had some of the best sex of their lives with these men and whatnot. And it really is all about energy. It's not about appearance per se. Yeah, it's important to be attracted to someone, but sometimes it's the energy that is what is the most attractive. Because have you ever also met somebody who is very attractive, but also at the same time, their energy doesn't feel good? Like, it's important to pay attention to energy overall. And what's attractive to someone else may not be attractive to someone else, and that is okay. But in terms of how we treat each other, it should never be based off of how someone looks or how someone, what their appearance is, right? So I'm also feeling an inner wounded feminine energy around body shame or shame about how one looks, and doing the healing with that. And this is also something that I am healing within myself. My family did not always have a healthy perception of what appearance should be or what body image should be. So relearning those patterns has been a process, and it all stems with our subconscious mind. So I'm also seeing dynamics of how your nurturing, loving energy may not have always attracted the best of friends, because I'm being shown the scene in Heather's when Veronica goes to a college Remington party with Heather Chandler, the leader of their clique. And she basically says, if you mess this up, this will be the end of you and your reputation. Well, Veronica goes to the party and she gets really drunk to the point where she is sick. She is not feeling any of the guys at this party. And she goes to Heather and she says, I want to leave. I don't feel good. Can we jam? And Heather's like, no. And her friend is literally sick, and she doesn't care that her friend is sick. And Veronica, like, vomits all over her shoes. And Veronica's like, I'm leaving. And she goes, this is how you pay me in puke? And Veronica, like, she is the one that comes in to shake things up in this school and within this group of people. And you know that she's strong. She's like, lick it up, baby, lick it up. And the quotes in this movie are phenomenal. It's really fun. It is a dark comedy, and it touches on a lot of very dark topics, but it does it in a way that is humorous. Whereas, these things in reality would be taken very seriously. In this film, it's like the flip side of that, to bring humor, but also to shine light on certain topics that have been swept under the rug or haven't been taken as seriously as they should in the real world. Okay? So with true love here, I am picking up on a fated connection, a connection that feels very fated in nature, feels very good. But if you look on the card here, you see Ariel and Eric, they are just mesmerized by each other. And then you have Ursula in the background coming in to meddle in their relationship. So I do feel some of you have a very strong connection with someone, but there is an outside influence, a feminine energy, who's coming in saying, you can do better. What are you doing with this person? No, you're not dating him. I won't allow it. Like trying to meddle in something that you feel is genuine to you. And I'm being shown the scene in Heather's in the very beginning when Veronica, she sees Jason Dean, who is played by Christian Slater, in the cafeteria. They actually do this cafeteria poll question, and they go around and they ask everybody this question. You inherit a bunch of money the same day that aliens land on the earth saying that they're going to blow it up. What do you do? They go around and ask everyone this question. Veronica goes up to Jason Dean by herself and she asks him the question. He's just like, that's the stupidest question I ever heard. And they have this very energetic recognition with each other. You can tell that they're into each other just by the way they're looking, much like the two on the card are at the bottom. Heather Chandler comes over and interrupts them, and she's like, come on, Veronica, and she like breaks them up to pull Veronica away from him. So Heather was meddling in her relationship with Jason Dean because she didn't think that Jason Dean was somebody her friend should be dating, not caring how Veronica really felt in the matter. So I'm seeing dynamics of this in your life right now, all right? Meddling in other people's relationships is not cool. People are supposed to date who they want. Yeah, sometimes we can see the red flags before other people can, but it's important for everyone to recognize those on their own. Perhaps there's lessons that the other person needs to learn, because as this movie goes on, you actually learn that Jason Dean is quite toxic. And sometimes people in our life can see that energy from the beginning, but whereas we may not see that, but Veronica had to learn this on her own. She had to learn that Jason Dean was not someone that was actually for her. This was a fated connection that was brought in to teach her a lesson. So sometimes there are dynamics like that, but meddling will not allow the natural course of events to take place that are meant to. All right? With the Two of Wands, I am feeling a lot of creative energy. I'm feeling a lot of travel energy. Being inspired to do something. Something to get you out of a comfort zone is what I'm seeing here. But also, if you have been working on healing feminine energy within yourself, I'm actually being shown how Veronica writes in a diary. So after she has that interaction at the Remington party with Heather Chandler, she goes to her diary and she's like, "Dear diary, I want to kill." And she writes all of her emotions out in the diary. And this is actually what is helping her to heal through the film, because she's feeling her emotions while expressing them creatively. So Spirit is showing me there is something that you love to do that is creative, but it's important to use that to help bring those emotions out in a healthy way. Creativity heals us in a very powerful way. So if you write in a diary, if you write out your emotions, it is very healing, and it has helped you come to a lot of conclusions in your life about decisions to be made, what routes you want to take, what you want to do, what your dreams, aspirations are. Journaling will also help you get out of your comfort zone if you feel like you're stuck at a certain point in your life right now. So, writing, I'm feeling very strongly because that's what Veronica does in the film. She writes in a diary and she gets all of her emotions out. You may have a passion for writing stories, writing poems, writing, maybe you have aspirations to write a book. Spirit is saying to move forward on what it is you are passionate about, because every little step that you take, you are slowly getting out of that comfort zone and moving in the direction of what lights you up, all right? With the Hanged Man, this is an energy of having experienced a setback or something didn't go as planned. Plans are on hold with something, and it's feeling like this energy of just waiting, 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 What I'm being shown from the scene Heathers is actually the scene towards the end of the film where she has come to the realization of how toxic Jason Dean is, and she's trying to remove her energy from him. Because what happens in the film is she's in this very toxic dynamic with these women who they all have wounded feminine energy just like she does, but she's coming into the realization that she doesn't want to be toxic like them. And then she meets Jason Dean, who is toxic on another level. He just wants to kill everyone. And he kind of brings her into that. It wasn't something that she genuinely wanted to do. He just kind of pulled her into it without, like, very nonchalantly, not telling her that that was what he had planned, that he wanted to kind of create a power couple of them of being natural born killers. So when she realizes that he has been manipulating her, she decides to take her power back, but she has to lie to him in order to get away from him. So if you are in a toxic relationship where you're experiencing setbacks or you're wanting to move away from someone and it feels like this waiting period of like, how do I get out of this? Sometimes lying can serve. And what I mean by this is in the film, Veronica fakes her own death. Now, I am not saying to do that, okay? I'm just saying that this is how it served her in the film. She lies by pretending to have hanged herself in her bedroom. So when he comes through her window, he sees that she is hanging above her bed. And he was like, well, I was coming up here to kill you, but this is what's going to happen. The kids of this school, they all signed this petition to die. And that is what is going on. And you know what? I loved you. And then he leaves. And then after he leaves, you see her actually sit up and drop herself down on her bed. So she had to lie to him because if she didn't, he was going to physically kill her. So sometimes in these very toxic dynamics, you got to do what you got to do to get away. And that is what she did in this film. If you are in a situation like that, do what you have to do to get safe. Do what you have to do to move away from that energy, all right? Because your well-being, I'm also picking up on energy of children too. Your well-being, the well-being of your children, well-being of anyone else who may be affected by this, it is the number one priority. Do what you have to do to get away, all right? So this waiting period, I'm feeling is, it is serving a purpose, but there are things that you can do to help move your energy away. But I'm also seeing if you set up protective boundaries, they're energetically around yourself, protection will help as well, okay? The next card that we have is Justice. So this is Spirit coming in to say that justice will be served here. Whatever wrongs you have experienced, for those of you who are bullied in school, that karma is being flipped. And what's interesting about karma, how it gets flipped, one of the most powerful way that it gets flipped is when we feel our anger and then forgive those who have wronged us. Then the karma flips, because instead of holding on to that pain and, having those like negative thoughts about these people who may have hurt us, choosing to not hold on to that pain is a miracle, because it's no longer poisoning your system, right? And the karma literally flips because you take your power back. We give our power away when we hold on to the pain, because we're still allowing other people to create our reality. When we forgive, when we process our emotions and we forgive, we take our power back. And this is like the best way to have justice served. But also, I am seeing that it is important for some of you to speak up about something, because this is how the justice will be served. This is how the pattern will be broken for some of you. I'm being shown the scene at the very end when Veronica faces off Jason Dean. He actually plans on blowing up the school, and he thinks she's dead, so she goes to the school to stop him from what he plans to do. And she has a gun, and she approaches him, and she speaks her truth to him. She goes, "You know what I need, babe? Cool guys like you out of my life." Like, she speaks her truth to him, and he actually becomes very vulnerable with her as she is standing up to him, as she's taking her power back. He says to her, he goes, "Nobody loves me." And the only way that different people of different social groups can get along with each other is in heaven. So he thought that he was doing this favor for the whole school. He thought he was bringing justice to the school through this hateful action that he planned to do. And she knew that that wasn't the way. So she stood up to him. She took her power back. She got justice in that moment by refusing to let him control her reality. So she ends up shooting him, and at the very end, he actually ends up blowing himself up because she stopped him from blowing up the school. This movie is well ahead of its time in terms of the content that's talked about in this movie. It shines a light on very dark themes. So what Spirit is showing me with justice is it's important for you to take a stand, to take your power back from somebody, to speak your truth, to not let someone walk all over you, to break a pattern, to feel your emotions, to forgive, because that is how the scales will be tipped. See, that's how you'll bring the karma back into balance. Karma flips when we process our emotions and we forgive, and also when we speak our truth about something. So I'm feeling an energy of, well, how do you know when to speak up about something? You speak up when you recognize that it's a pattern that has taken place over and over and over again. You break the loop by doing something you haven't done previously. A mistake that is done one time, that can be, okay, we'll forgive that. But something that's done over and over and over again, action must be taken. You must speak up. You must cut ties with the toxic behavior. You have to stand firm in your boundaries, because we teach people how to treat us. All right? With the Wheel of Fortune, this is the karma shifting in your favor as you do these things, as you're healing this energy within yourself, as you're taking your power back, as justice is coming into your life right now. This is the end of the movie where Veronica, after Jason Dean blows himself up, she is completely like scorched with the smoky black residue, and her hair is all frazzled, and she walks back into the school, and she approaches one of the other Heathers who was attempting to take the place of the Heather who died earlier in the film, and she says, "There's a new sheriff in town." So this is like healing wounded feminine energy. This is an energy. There is a new sheriff in town. The way things have been going on here are no longer going to jive. This is how we're doing it going forward. And what happens is she kisses Heather on the cheek, who's played by Shannon Doherty, and she takes the red scrunchie, she puts it in her hair, and she approaches Martha, who was the girl who was being bullied in the beginning of the film, and she's actually in a wheelchair because there's a scene earlier where she had walked into traffic. She had attempted to take her own life because of all the situations that were going on in the school due to what Jason Dean had been creating in the school. And she walks up to her and she goes, "Hey, you want to go watch some new releases with me?" And she's like, "I'd like that." And it's this very beautiful moment where Veronica is in her power. She is choosing to give unconditional love to people, no longer bullying people, no longer letting other people tell her what she can and cannot do. Understanding that she is going to love people unconditionally, knowing that, yeah, she had these people who treated her like crap, but she is no longer giving them power. She is taking back her power and she's resorting to creating this beautiful reality that she wants to create, being the new sheriff in town. So, this is you creating your reality from a beautiful place of unconditional love, doing that healing, letting go of that wounding, but also understanding that the wounding served a purpose. It strengthened you to get you to this place where you could take your power back, right? And the last two cards are the epitome of beautiful feminine energy that is healed. When feminine energy is healed, it flows. And look, the blue on the card is like this blue water stream that is just flowing with abundance. Nine of Pentacles is ultimate abundance. Wishes coming true. Finances increasing. Manifesting, coming in a flow state with ease because of that wounded feminine energy being healed. And that's what happened after Veronica went through hell to get to that place of healing, of unconditional love. This is what is after the healing. This is the flow. And also blue is a color of the throat chakra, saying what you want to say when you want to say it without caring if anybody, like, what their opinions are, not caring what other people think, not resorting to people pleasing anyone, speaking your truth in a flow state because it's who you are, right? Very cool. And the last card is the Sun. This is the ultimate glow up after this healing takes place. And look, it's a crab on the card. So it's a crab on the card. So it's, yeah, all that anger has led to this place of my glow up. And it is just literally the sun shining on you because of your journey, because of everything that you've gone through, everything that has served a purpose on your journey, as difficult as it may seem. Getting to that ultimate glow up. So this could also mean taking time for yourself, prioritizing your own needs, spending time out in the sun, walking in nature, having a spa day where you have a massage, devoting it a whole day to a glow up for yourself, doing something that you need, not what other people want from you. Like just having a day devoted to you and what it is that you want. And just having that glow up in a very beautiful way. And the glow up also takes place as we continue to heal our wounded feminine energy, pile number 2. So very cool. That is all I am seeing. Those are your messages from the 1988 movie Heathers. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If you did, drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you on the next one. Bye. Hello to everyone who chose pile number 3. I'm excited and honored to be doing this reading for you today. So, the crystal that was sitting on top of your pile was the bronze colored heart. So, what I am getting with this, I'm immediately feeling like winning the bronze in the Olympics, but not feeling like that is good enough. Like bronze energy in the sense of there's someone better or there's competition, comparison. And what Spirit wants you to know is that it's an honor to win any of those awards. To win the bronze, silver, or gold, all of those are equally important, and none of them are any better than the rest. It was just a matter of, the competition itself and who ended up winning in the end. But those places, first, second, third, those are not definitions of a person's worth and who they really are on the inside. So I'm feeling an energy of competing, of comparison, of feeling like the place one won in a competition wasn't good enough. And Spirit is saying it all matters on your journey. And when you get a certain place in a competition, that is, motivation, fuel to come back even better the next time. And with whatever it is you were competing in or what you were being challenged to do in that moment. But the specific places do not define your worth, all right? So that message pairs very nicely with your film, which is the 1999 movie Jawbreaker, directed by Darren Stein, starring Rose McGowan, Rebecca Gayheart, and Judy Greer. The film follows 4 girls who are in high school, and 3 of them decide to surprise one of them because it is her birthday, and they want to prank her and then take her out for her birthday. So they show up at her house while she's sleeping. Rose McGowan's character, Courtney Shane, shoves a jawbreaker into her mouth, duct tapes it, and then they all put her in the trunk, thinking that this is going to be the prank of the year because this is something they do between all of them in their friend group every year. What happens, though, is when they go to retrieve their friend from the trunk, they see that she is dead, that she has choked on the jawbreaker that had been put in her mouth. And then from that moment on, the story evolves into a dark comedy about high school, about friendship, and ultimately about wounded feminine energy, which is what we will be talking about today in your reading pile number 3. So let's see what your cards are. First, we have the Hermit. Next, we have the 3 of Cups. Seven of Cups. The Magician. Eight of Cups. The Fool. Queen of Wands. And 6 of Swords. All right, pile number 3, before we move forward with your reading, as a disclaimer, just want you to know that sometimes spoilers from the film come through the reading. So if you have not seen Jawbreaker, just be mindful of that as we're going through the reading if you don't want the film to be spoiled for you. All right, so first off, we have the Hermit. And with this card, I am feeling the message from Spirit that's coming through is it's time to take a break with something. It's time to focus on what your needs are, to prioritize yourself, to put yourself on a pedestal. Because I am feeling energy from the bronze crystal. With having competed with something, not coming out on top, and being very hard on oneself is what I feel from that energy, or comparing oneself to another. Spirit is saying to take that energy, pull it back within, have a self-care day, spend some time in solitude, whatever you can do to self-soothe yourself during this time with whatever it is that you've experienced that may have been difficult, or you might be hard on yourself, beating yourself up for making mistakes. It's time to give yourself a glow up, in a sense, to spend time with yourself in solitude and put that energy back within yourself, putting yourself on the pedestal. All right. So what I'm seeing from the film Jawbreaker is Judy Greer's character, Fern Mayo. Her name's Fern Mayo. And she kind of is very quiet. She has that hermit-like energy, but she idolizes these popular girls because she herself is not popular. She kind of hangs back in the shadows, and she doesn't do her hair. She wears clothes that kind of hide who she is. So it's just this energy of her hiding, which can come with the hermit if one has spent a lot of time isolated or even has a sense of social anxiety, which Fern Mayo definitely exhibits in the film. So what happens with this group of girls? Rose McGowan is the ringleader of this popular group of girls that go to this high school, right? And after they find out that they killed their friend, they attempt to cover it up. And Fern Mayo at school, she told the teacher that she would take the girl that died, her homework to her. And her name is Liz. The girl that died, her name is Liz. Fern says she will take Liz's homework to her. So she takes her homework to Liz's house, and the house is actually open. Fern just walks in, and she can hear the group of popular girls upstairs fighting in Liz's bedroom. So she goes upstairs, and she actually witnesses Liz dead on the bed. And she screams, and she flees, and she runs down the steps, and Rose McGowan's character, Courtney Shane, runs after her and says, "Fern, you did not see anything." And she kind of emotionally manipulates her in this moment to tell her that they will make her one of them. They will make her popular, part of their clique. So what they do is they take her to all these stores, get her all of these really nice clothes, they get her hair done, and Courtney actually changes her name from Fern Mayo to Violet. So Violet has this complete makeover. But where the energy of the hermit is coming from, I'm being shown when Fern has the transformation to Violet, there's like this little montage of her getting her hair done, and it like spins her around from where she was Fern to when she becomes Violet. And it's the self-care of that scene that Spirit is showing me first and foremost, how it's important to prioritize your self-care, to prioritize your needs. And yeah, in this movie, Fern does this to be popular, but that's not the energy that I'm getting for the message for you. I'm getting this is Spirit saying to take some time in solitude, to have a glow up for yourself, to do something nice, to sit in your feminine energy, whatever that looks like for you, because being feminine is defined differently by everybody. So take that much needed self-care day and give yourself a glow up or self-soothe if you have just dealt with something difficult at this time, all right? With the Three of Cups, this is all about having support from family and friends. And I'm also picking up on older connections, people that you haven't connected with in a very long time. Because I'm being shown the scene in Jawbreaker with Rebecca Gayheart, who plays Julie Freeman. And she is one of the popular girls in the clique along with Rose McGowan. Anyway, after Fern has her glow up, she sees Fern and she says, "You look really pretty, Fern." She gives her a compliment. Whereas Courtney's energy is this toxic friend energy, just wanting to do anything at all costs to keep Fern quiet. So the energy that I'm seeing with your friends and your family is that of Julie and Fern. And there also is a scene where Julie goes home after school one day and she decides to call Fern on the phone. And she says, "Hey, do you remember when we hung out when we were kids and how much fun we had?" And this puts a smile on Fern's face. So there are some connections from your past that may be reignited in your present moment right now. So be open to that if that is taking place, all right? But also the Three of Cups, this is about having support from family and friends. And I'm seeing with whatever you're going through, there you have some solid friends around you who uplift and encourage you, and these are people to never let go of, all right? And the last thing that I am seeing here is Spirit is saying to also make sure to tell the people that you love how much they mean to you, because sometimes there's like this energy of, well, I don't know if I want to go about doing that, or we can get busy with our lives and sometimes miss opportunities to do that. But when we let people that we care about and love know how important they are to us, that really matters. And it's those moments that people tend to remember. People always remember how you make them feel, okay? With the Seven of Cups, there are a lot of opportunities manifesting for you right now. And I am seeing that some are more favorable than others. So Spirit is saying to practice discernment with where you're choosing to give your energy and time to. Because I am being shown Rose McGowan's character in the film Jawbreaker. And what happens is you come to find out, this is a spoiler, that she was actually behind the whole thing when it came to killing their best friend Liz. She was actually threatened by her because Liz had it in the bag to win prom queen. And Rose McGowan's character, Courtney, wanted to be prom queen. So this is also where I was picking up on like competitive energy. Spirit is saying to pull your energy back from anybody who may be projecting that at you, because true friends will uplift and encourage you. They will not compete with you. They will be happy for you when you win, because they know that they have their own unique special gifts and talents that will help them succeed with whatever it is that they're good at, knowing that they will support you as much as you support them, is what I'm getting at here. So be mindful of energy. Energy does not lie. So Courtney was responsible for the death of their friend, and you learn this as the film progresses. And Rebecca Gayheart's character, Julie Friedman, becomes on to Courtney, and she just doesn't know how to figure out how to expose her. So when figuring out which opportunity to go in the direction of, pay attention to the energy of people as you're moving forward, okay? because there's a lot of messaging in the cards here about manifesting something that you think you want, but then realizing that it wasn't really favorable. So energy is important to pay attention while deciding which of these options, opportunities you want to pursue that are coming up in your reality right now, pile 3. The next card we have is the Magician. So this is another energy of powerful manifestation, all right? So what I'm being shown from Jawbreaker is actually Rebecca Gayhart's love interest in the film, Zach, played by Chad Christ. And he is a theater buff, and he always gets the lead roles in all of the school plays. So for some of you here, I'm picking up on an energy of wanting to be an actress or an actor, working in the creative arts field in any sense of the word. I'm also hearing photography. I'm also hearing writing, something very creative, but I'm picking up on acting very, very strongly because of Zach's character in the film. And yeah, with that industry, there does come a lot of competition, but you have to remind yourself not to pay attention to the competition. And when you go into those auditions, when you go into each new project that you are pursuing with a good attitude, with gratitude, being good to the people that you're interacting with, good things happen. And with the Magician and the Seven of Cups, this is ultimate manifesting abilities. Your ability to manifest your dream reality is off the charts, especially with this Magician card here. So if you want lead roles in place, you can have it. Visualize yourself landing the role. Visualize yourself working with the group of people that uplift and encourage you, support you, right? People that don't compete with you, or who understand that not everybody gets the role, knowing that when you don't get a role, it's making room for an even better role. Rejection is spirit's protection, all right? Because with acting, there will come a lot of rejection. And it's how you handle that that matters. But a lot of cool projects coming in with the Magician card here. So whatever you're passionate about, you keep a good attitude, you visualize everything flowing and going the way that you would like, but letting go of how it manifests. Very, very powerful, pile number 3. The next card we have is the Eight of Cups, and this was the energy that I was picking up on in regards to perhaps manifesting something you really do not prefer. So what happens in the film Jawbreaker, Violet, who actually is Fern, she gets cocky in her popularity, and she starts to try to dominate over Rose McGowan's character, Courtney. And that doesn't really pan out too well because Courtney creates all these flyers that says, "Who is Violet?" And she posts them all over the school. So when people find out that Violet is actually Fern Mayo, that is when Violet's ego is knocked down a couple of pegs. But what this made Violet Fern realize is that it was important for her to decide what it was she really wanted. What she thought she wanted was to be part of this popular group of girls. And then when she was in the midst of it, only to realize that it was something that she didn't prefer. She didn't want to be like these women who belittled other people, who, you know, Rose McGowan's character killed her best friend because she was competing with her over being prom queen. So Spirit is saying, what is it that you really want? Get clear and specific on that and walk away from anything that does not align with that vision that you want to create in your reality, pile number 3. Okay? Because 8 of Cups is all about walking away from what no longer serves. But this, I feel very strongly a situation of, okay, well, I've manifested this. Why am I not more happy? And Spirit is saying to get clear on what it is that you do want. But I'm also feeling this could be due to the wounded feminine energy. Perhaps there is someone around you who is triggering this within you. So if you can get to the root of what that is, you can do healing with that, let that energy go, and let it flow through you with much more ease, because feminine energy is meant to be easy. It's meant to flow, all right? With the last 3 cards, we have the Fool, Queen of Wands, and the 6 of Swords. With the Fool, this is all about embarking on a new exciting journey. And if you look very closely on the Fool card here, you see that he has the angel and the devil kind of in his ear about what he should do. The Queen of Wands is a very passionate energy, going after one's dreams. And the 6 of Swords is all about unexpected setbacks, things not panning out the way that you would want, but also being reluctant to move forward with something. So with the Fool here, and the Queen of Wands, and the 6 of Swords, I am being shown Julie Freeman, Rebecca Gayheart's character, with all 3 of these. So with the Fool, Julie was not aware of how toxic her friends were, and the girl that was killed was actually her best friend, Liz. So after this happens, she is forced to face the truth of her other 2 friends, Rose McGowan and the other gal played by Julie Benz. So Rebecca Gayheart's character, Julie, she goes back and forth in her mind a lot about what she should do. She wonders if she should turn everyone into the cops, let them know what really happened to Liz, and then the other side of her, wants to keep quiet because she doesn't want to get in trouble. So that's where the Fool energy is. Spirit is showing me that there is something that has taken place, but it's like, should I do this? Should I do that? What are the consequences of me making this decision? And what are the consequences of me making this other decision? And Spirit is saying that whatever this decision is, this is the beginning of your journey, and the decisions you make do matter. But it's important to always make the decision that is not related to fear, to make the decision that is leading to love. And that's what the consequences would be. Sometimes the consequences would be a tough love. So for Julie here, if she had turned in Rose McGowan's character, Courtney, then things probably would have been much different in the film. So what happens is, with the Queen of Wands, this is what Julie rises into. She takes her power back from Courtney, but she wants to figure out a way as to how to expose her, how to let people see her for who she really is. So at the prom, Courtney is crowned prom queen, and she's up on the stage and she's just all, gloating and saying thank you. But what is interesting, if you look at the card here, we have the evil queen, and then we have the ugly queen that she transformed into when she gave the apple to Snow White. So people see Courtney for who she really is because of what Julie does next. Julie, with the 6 of Swords, was feeling all of this resistance. She didn't want to move forward with anything, but she's like, how am I going to expose Courtney for who she is? And it all comes down to this Hallmark card that she finds while she is looking through some of Liz's old things. And it's one of those cards that records voices. So she opens the card and it says, I killed Liz. I killed the team dream. deal with it. And it was enough for Julie to get dressed up and go to the dance. And she has her boyfriend Zach help her. And when Courtney is on stage with her crown saying thank you to everyone, they open the Hallmark card through a broadcast system, and it is broadcast to the entire school that Courtney is the one that killed Liz. And they all see her for who she really is, which is what happens with just like the Queen of Wands here, where you see the queen with the crown, and then you see the real essence of her soul behind her. So, if someone has done something to hurt you, a feminine energy that has led to wounded feminine energy within yourself, Spirit is saying to speak up. There's something here to speak up about, to expose. And this does not have to be done in a negative light. You can speak your truth and still hold your ground. You can still do it in a respectful way. But if this person has been, continuing a pattern of behavior, something has to be done to break the pattern. And oftentimes that is when to speak up. So going back and forth about what to do here in regards to someone in your life, do the option that leads to the most love, that feels the most loving, even if that's a tough love, like Julie had to do to her friend Courtney to expose her, because she was responsible for the death of their friend Liz. And once Julie stood her ground, even though she was experiencing all of those unexpected setbacks and reluctant to move forward on her journey, when she decided to expose her at the prom, everyone else saw her for who she truly was, which was the ugly queen on the card here. So karma is flipped when we take our power back, when we speak our truth, when we break a pattern. And this will all be done as you clear your throat chakra. Like, I'm feeling a lot of blockages in my throat. There's something a lot of you want to speak up about. I can feel that very strongly. So do some work on your throat chakra to clear the blockages, to get the energy flowing. Also, doing some energy work around your feminine energy could help. I will say, when it comes to Reiki, do what you can handle, because the other day I put on a Reiki video that was 10 minutes to heal my wounded feminine energy. And it was only like a 10-minute video, but 7 minutes into it, I started to feel really sick because that high vibrational energy was meeting with my wounded energy. And I started to get like a stomach ache. I started to feel like I was going to get sick. So if you do Reiki, be careful with that and only do what your body is allowing, all right? You can do a little more each time, but if you're going to go the Reiki route, be mindful of that. It's a very powerful energy. So that is all that I am seeing. Those are your messages from the 1999 film Jawbreaker. If you enjoyed your reading, drop a comment down below. Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.